Hello, everyone. Welcome to the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation's Saturday speaker group meeting. Today, we have an awesome presenter that is actually on our board of directors and has been involved with the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation for many years. We have Heike Kessler-Heiberg with us today, and Heike is an associate professor at the San Diego Community College District's Continuing Education's Acquired Brain Injury Program, or better known as the ABI program. So Heike is going to be talking about some updates to the program, enrollment, schedule, classes available, things such as that. So welcome everybody, and thank you, Heike, for spending some time with us on a Saturday. We appreciate that, and we'll give you the floor now.
Thank you so much, Kurt, and thank you for having me and speak a little bit about the ABI program. Although I see some faces and names here, I think that could just as well do this presentation. So I'll be asking for some input as we go along. By way of background, who am I? My name is Heike, as he said, and I am a speech language pathologist by training, not actually a teacher. All the teachers at the ABI program most of them are therapists of some sort, but we've all, I think, over the years become pretty good teachers as we've gone along. I have worked in the field of brain injury. My education is back east, but I worked in the field of brain injury since 1980, and really got interested because speech pathologists do a lot of different things. If you're not aware, you hear the word speech, and that's one thing, how you pronounce your words. The language part, yeah, that's how you put sentences together and find words and understand words. But we also work on all the cognitive skills, things like memory and judgment and reasoning and time, things to do with impulse control and time management and all of that. In addition to the other things that people think of, stuttering, fluency problems, voice production problems, working with kids with autism and language delays, all of that too. So I had a smorgasbord of things to choose from. And I chose in the end to work with speech, language, and especially cognitive issues with people that have survived some type of brain injury. And that's really been my life's work, and it's definitely my life's passion. And I like to say I've probably worked in every setting that there is for brain injury survivors. I've worked ICU, inpatient, outpatient, residential, day treatment, private practice, and in the list, in inpatient, outpatient, in a rehab center. The list goes on. And really, this job that I've been with since 1989 has been the job with the community college district, providing these classes to survivors, has been by far my favorite. And so I was lucky to find a place to land like that. So I will share my screen. This is the basics of that. Just to sort of have you understand where we fit in the big picture of things, is that there is a San Diego Community College District. And many of you have heard of the colleges. You've probably gone to some of them, City, Miramar, and Mesa. And then they also have a very large and very old continuing ed department. And under continuing ed, they teach things like English as a second language, job certificate programs, auto welding, citizenship classes, parenting classes, older adults. But in all of that, they do offer some classes for students with disabilities. And under that falls the ABI programs. You've got ABI morning, ABI afternoon, ABI at night. We've covered 24 hours on a given day, and also another ABI program at a different campus. The campuses are kind of irrelevant right now because we have been on Zoom since the pandemic started. But the philosophy of all the programs is basically the same. They are all, They are all non-fee. There's no charge. They are all non-credit. Don't have to worry about grades because it's adult continuing education. And we try to help adults with recovery from brain trauma, like a traumatic brain injury, a car accident, a fall, an assault. People have had strokes, which includes aneurysms. People have had brain tumors, brain infections, and lack of oxygen to the brain through anoxia, suffocation, drowning, so forth, heart attack. The philosophy, again, among all the programs, regardless of when they're held, is also the same. And we try to help students, survivors with any academic endeavors. They may want to go back to school. I don't necessarily mean even credit for credit or degree or diploma. We also mean non-credit things, other kinds of continuing. It could be flower arranging. It could be sculpting or piano lessons, any kind of other classes. We'd like to help you navigate that, figure out strategies. Community activities and volunteering is a big focus. Helping people transition to work reentry programs or even returning to work, another focus. More independent living. For some students, being able to live in their own apartment is a huge thing, or be able to learn how to take the buses so they don't have to rely on the access buses, and just help them with their interpersonal relationships. So that is true for all the classes and all the programs. And my buttons don't always work. Improving a person's insight and awareness so that you have a better understanding of what has happened here. And as you all know, that's something that doesn't happen overnight. That is something that takes a long time to really understand. How is my brain different? How am I processing things differently now? What's the nature and extent of the changes? And what am I going to do about it? You know, what are my strengths right now and limitations, the changes? What are some strategies that I can be more independent, feel more confident? But even more importantly, who am I after the injury? It's all about rebuilding a sense of self, because we all kind of identify ourselves with certain roles that we have in life. And if all of that in a car accident or something is changed overnight, you're kind of left rudderless with not, maybe your sense of self has changed, self-confidence, self-awareness. And so we really try to help people find that again and support them in that. And that's probably all of these things. And the previous slide speak to the quality of life. If there was some magic test that could measure the quality of life for people, that's where our focus is. We're not as much into, oh, 2 people went back to work, 1 person went back to school, those kinds of numbers. I mean, those are great too, and those are great, great accomplishments. But we also have people that decide to write their memoirs and publish them. We have people that, as I said, learn to take the bus system. We have people that start volunteering. We have people that read the first book that they've been able to read since their injury from beginning to end. Those are huge accomplishments too. And those speak to the quality of life. So who are we teacher-wise? Like me, several speech language pathologists, there's counselors, there's rehab counselors, recreation therapists on staff, and then often students who support us, students perhaps in rehab or in speech pathology that help support the program. And the continuing ed semester, 18 weeks in the fall, spring, summer, depending on the governor and the budget, because that's how this program, all these programs are funded, our taxpayer dollars, but depending on what the governor does, our budget can allow for 3 weeks, or lately it's been more like 8, 9, 10 weeks, which has been great. So this summer just wrapped up this past week, and it was a 10-week summer, which is wonderful. So the curriculum, cognitive stuff, cognitive retraining, memory in particular, communication skills, not only word finding and grammar and issues like that, but also social communication. How am I coming across? Do people understand me? Am I picking up on clues and cues? Am I appropriate for the situation? Lots of psychosocial support. The thing we always say about the program is the relationship between the teachers and the students is great, and there's a lot of support and cueing and scaffolding and even individual meetings. But the support that the students, the survivors who've been through it, provide each other, that's where the real strength of the program is, because everybody knows what it's like. Advocacy, another big topic. How do you stand up for yourself? How do you get your needs met, especially in the medical community? Academic skills, the basics about reading, writing. What kind of strategies do you need now? Are you at the stage where you read a paragraph and then sit there and go, what did I just read? So we work on those types of skills. Study skills included for those who want to go back to school. How do you study now? I used to do all-nighters. Is that going to work anymore? Coping skills, a lot of that. Managing your stress level, your anxiety, your overwhelm, which are all really common after brain injury. Creativity, there's even classes that address that, because that speaks to cognitive skills too, right? Things like initiative, follow through, and planning, executive skills of planning, not to mention the emotional benefits of creating things, finishing a project. And then vocational work-related kinds of classes. How do I write my resume now? How will getting a job affect my benefits? Will it affect my benefits? How do I interview? How do I keep a job? That's probably a bigger issue. It's easy enough to get at one, not so hard, not so easy to always keep it when you're dealing with all the issues after a brain injury. But vocational also covers volunteering, and that is always a great way to start. I am going to go through the individual programs so you have a sense of how they're different and how you get in to a program. And anybody who's been in my classes knows that Heike does not type very well and will make many typos as she does this. But there are a number of programs. There is the biggest program called ABI Afternoons. And that's the one that most people think of. We used to meet at the Mesa campus. We have beautiful rooms. We haven't been doing that, obviously, since Zoom. I'm coming to you right now from my bedroom in the office. There is an ABI morning program as well, ABI afternoon, ABI morning. There is an ABI ECC program, which used to meet at a completely different campus away from the Mesa campus. But now, of course, it is also Zoom. And there is the Wednesday night class. So that's basically what I'll be going over, those 4 programs. Some of you may just be familiar with 1 or 2 of them. You might not even have realized that there are these other ones. Let's start with the biggest one. The oldest one, it's also the one I teach at, the ABI afternoon program. It runs Monday through Thursday, 1 to 3:30. Part-time as possible. So you do not have to come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can come 1 day a week. You can pick classes for 2 days a week. You might have other things going on. For brand new students, we often recommend that, yes, try to come 4 days a week to get as much out of it as possible, if that's doable for you. Sometimes it's not because of your schedule, like other therapies. And sometimes it's not because you might not be ready in terms of your stamina, your physical and cognitive and visual stamina to do that quite yet. But that would be a good thing to work up to, of increasing your cognitive stamina to be able to attend somewhere for 2.5 or so hours a day, 4 days a week. That's what you'll need to do, oftentimes when you're looking at other parts of your life, and that's part of what your goals are, is to increase your stamina. We enroll 130, 165 students a semester. Thank goodness they don't all show up on the Zoom screen every day. We have 65 to 85 attend per day, but we have 3 or 4 teachers teaching per day. And I did not, yeah. So that way they're in any given class on any given day, there are 8, might be as small as 8, 5 or 8 students. It might be 15, it might be 23, occasionally even over 30, depending. And we have 6 instructors, and you have a first and a second period. All right. This is just to give you an idea. Every semester is a little different. There's some classes that are offered literally every semester, and there are some that change every semester. So this happens to be the fall, or actually what's going to happen this fall, which will be September 6th to January something or another. I have to move you guys out of the way, 26th. And as you see here, we have a first period, which runs from 1 to 2. And you see here on Monday, there are 1, 2, 3 classes running simultaneously. If you join the program, you have to pick one of those 3, because you can't be in 3 places at the same time. Then there's a break, 15-minute break. And then as we scroll down, comes second period, 2:30 to 3:30. Again, 1, 2, 3 different classes available. You pick one, and those will be the classes you will go to every Monday for the 18 weeks of the semester. And the same with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And as I said, some classes like memory, we never leave that one out. That's always there. It's actually a 2-day-a-week class. You have to go both days. Whereas something like yoga, always have it. Organization and time management, always have it. So if you don't get a class one semester because you maybe are conflicted, you want 2 classes, you don't know which one to pick, the good news is it probably will show up again in a future semester. So you'll be able to attend next semester. There's some classes, however, that are, I guess I'll call them seasonal. And for instance, my book club class that I'm teaching this fall is only this semester. It'll probably be a year till you see that one again. Let's see. Joanne, her classes, she tends to switch them quite a bit. She has a lot of psychosocial type classes. This one's called Thriving. This one's called Connecting Through Communication. This one is Understanding Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. But next semester, she might teach assertion skills or toolbox or something completely different. So that's our crazy schedule. Normally, we have 4 teachers every period. We just had somebody retire. Hi, I saw some of you yesterday at the retirement party. And so we have managed to fill 2 out of the 4 days. So now we have 4 on those days, but we have only 3 on Mondays and Wednesdays. 3 choices versus 4. But I think it will work. There. So what I just showed you is basically what you're seeing here. And it just is to mainly give you a sense of the types of classes that we focus on. There is another program. It used to meet on the ECC campus, which is in Southeast San Diego. It's another large continuing education campus. And this focus is a little different. This is very much designed for people, with aphasia, apraxia, dysarthria. If you don't know what those are, you probably don't have it. But it's basically language problems, word finding problems, reading, writing problems in terms of expressing yourself in writing or understanding what you read at a very basic level. And also dysarthria, which is pronunciation problems, sounding clear and precise with your articulation. So these are speech pathologists that run this. They're from SDSU, they're awesome. And they focus, all their instruction focuses very much on articulation, language skills, very basic reading and writing. And they might have 20 people attend per day, or so, sometimes less. I should probably make that more consistent. This coming semester, I know that Linda Schmitz will not be working. So Sharon, the other speech pathologist, will be doing all of it. So there won't be this or, there won't be choices. She'll be doing, Sharon will, a combination of aphasia, exercises, maybe some brain education and some cognitive work, maybe some software that deals with word finding and spelling and stuff like that. So that's the ECC program. Yes, and I forgot to mention that's on Monday through Thursday. So that's actually in conflict with our bigger program that I showed you before. It's 12 to 3. Ours is 1 to 3:30. But again, the focus is different. That is not to say that in the bigger program, the ABI afternoon program, we don't also deal with people with aphasia. We do. I actually teach an aphasia workshop class. So it's not on here per se, but that's every semester. And so we can deal with people with pretty severe aphasia as well in a lot of our classes. But if you really want that to be your only focus, maybe the ECC program would be better. Or you may want to start at ECC and then do a couple of semesters there. And then, so you have the ability to go between programs. You just have to let us know, and we have to have we'll help you make those decisions. There's also a morning program. Remember, we're trying to cover like practically 24 hours a day. So the morning program is Monday through Fridays. There's about maybe 30 enrolled, 8 to 15 attend per day. There are 3 instructors, but there's only 1 assigned to teach per day. So there's only 1 Zoom room you have to go to. I'm sorry, I don't have the time on this one, but it's 10. I should have put that on. It's 10 to 12. So I don't know if I can add that, but I don't think so. The morning program is 10 to 12 in the morning. We do have students that go from 10 to 12 to this, and then come to the afternoon program from 1 to 3:30. That is possible. This is still a little, we've had some teacher changes, but the morning program on Mondays, we have Joanne. She's also an afternoon teacher. She focuses on the brain. She might do a brain challenge exercise, like maybe a Sudoku puzzle, and some general brain injury issues. Whereas Tuesdays, she might spend the 2 hours, which also have a break, talking about communication issues, emotional regulation. You know, how do you control your emotions, manage your stress, so forth, manage your anger. Wednesdays, different teacher, Julie, comes on board. She's a speech pathologist. She works more on the cognitive skills, the language skills, memory, organization, time management. Thursday, this is brand new. We've never had the yoga component, sort of the physical component to the morning program. And Debbie is joining the morning program Thursdays, and we'll be doing yoga, meditation, stress management. So like, for instance, if You attend the afternoon program and you never can fit in yoga because there's other things you want to take. Here's your chance, because you can go on Thursdays 10 to 12 and do yoga with Debbie. She also does a separate standalone yoga class, but I'm not going to go into that. And that's on Wednesday mornings. I think it's Wednesday morning. Finally, Friday, and I'm sorry again, I didn't get Joanne does winding up the week, student projects. It's very much a student discussion type of thing. That's the morning program. So we've covered the afternoon program, Monday through Thursday, the morning program, Monday through Friday, the aphasia focus program, ECC, Monday through Thursday in the afternoons. And here comes nighttime, in case you didn't have anything to do, between 6 and 9 at night on a Wednesday. There is a special standalone class called Cognitive Retraining, which sometimes they call it the Wednesday night program. And it is 6 to 9, all on Zoom. Anywhere between 13 and 25 people will show up on a given Wednesday. One teacher, she's also a speech pathologist, Margaret. It's very student-centered. People bring in topics, issues, activities, projects. You discuss real-life solutions. How do you make your life work? All these different cognitive strategies. A lot of times people who are already working or maybe can't come during the day like to come to the night class because they can't come during the day. It's good for people who used to be in our program who want a tune-up, but they can also come back to our program. Danny, I'm thinking of you for a tune-up, and attend the night program as well. So very student-centered. The example I always give is, for instance, but I'm going to ask some of you guys this question if you do attend some of these things, is, for instance, somebody comes in and says to the night program, I've been asked by my church to do a presentation about my journey with brain injury. And so that there might be time during the night program where everybody's kind of working on individual projects like that. And then that person can present their speech to the group and get feedback from the group and from the teacher before they have to do it live in front of the church group. Does that make sense? So that's one example. But that kind of thing also can happen in our regular classes during the day. So we're very flexible. Always, even though there might be an actual lesson plan and curriculum, I think all the teachers are very flexible and go with the lead of the student. So things come up and we might just do a 180 and address that issue right then and there. And that could be literally in any of the classes. So that was the night program. Those are the four. Those are the four programs. What are the requirements? Or what is the criteria to get in? Basically, you have to have medical documentation of an ABI after the age of 13. And the reason for that is, if you had a car accident when you were 4, you probably don't go running around when you're 5 saying, well, when I was 4, I could read this level of book. So we use 13 because by then people have very much a sense of before and after, because that's a major topic of discussion. What were things like before? How did I do things before the injury? And then how are things different now? There's a certain amount of grieving and loss, and there's the grieving has to take place, and that's part of what we try to help with in our classes. And so the injury has to be before the age of 13 for the most part, but we accept people who are 18 and older, because up to the age of 18, you should be served in the school system. They have, special programs within the school system. And once you're out of the school system, then you can consider coming to the community college for our program. And you do need to have appropriate behavior for a campus setting, even if the campus is on Zoom. And transportation to and from campus, well, I didn't take that off yet, but not too hard. If you can find a device, an iPhone, we have people attending on iPhones, iPads, tablets, and their desktop computers. And when we were on campus, but I left this on here because you never know, independent and toileting, you have to be able to move from room to room as needed. In our case on Zoom, you have to be able to move from Zoom room to Zoom room, but we will help you with that. So we are available to help you understand how to get on with Zoom. And we will work with you one-on-one if we need to help you do that. We've got counselors. Our longtime counselor recently took another position. So this semester, a counselor named Rosa is helping us. And when you meet with her, she can help you decide which program would be the best. We're happy to have Rosa because Rosa was a longtime ed tech with us, a support staff when she was going to school and rehab counseling. And she also taught for us one summer. So she definitely knows the programs. If your focus is very much language aphasia, you know that, you can talk to the counselor for the ECC program directly. And her name is Kim Salerno. But it almost doesn't matter either which way, whoever you get a hold of, they will help you figure out which program would be maybe a best fit for now, which doesn't mean you can't next semester, go to a different one. Enrollment, you basically email them, they'll help you set up an appointment on Zoom. You have to complete it, they'll send you an application. You do have to provide medical documentation of a brain injury. Most of the time that's a doctor's statement, could be a speech pathologist statement. You have to meet with the counselor on Zoom. And our next semester starts soon, September 6th, day after Labor Day. So it is still possible to get into classes for this fall semester. We're allowed to enroll students up till when we used to be on campus, when the whole system was different before COVID, the world was much different. We were able to take people almost at any point during the semester, which is not always ideal because you don't want to join a class when it's already half over, right? But since Zoom time, we are a little more restricted. So we have till the 28th of September. So if you could, to look at that week before September 6th, the end of August, that would be the best. That way you'd be able to get started with everybody right at the beginning.
Okay.
But if you couldn't, or it didn't work out, and you had to do your intake interview the 5th, 6th, 7th, even the week of the 11th or the 18th, technically, yeah, we can still get you in. And people do that. The benefits. Open entry, open exit. You can come and go. By that, we mean we can accept enrollees a few weeks into the semester. There's a great deal of peer support, networking. There's no performance pressure. You don't have to worry about grades. You can focus on the things you want to focus on because it is very student-centered. We try to do a holistic approach. We're really focused on the quality of life, as I said before. The benefits of this type of model is, to me, brain injury now has been recognized as a chronic condition. And by that, I mean, it is a health issue that you have to manage the rest of your life. Just like people have to manage cardiac problems or lung problems or diabetes. Once you have it, it's an issue and you have to manage it, right? And have treatment. The problem is there isn't much out there once you finished with rehab, right? They kind of send you on your way. Good luck. You know, if you have good insurance, if you have money, you can private pay to get more therapy. But that's not the case for most people. So we are extremely lucky in San Diego. There are no other ABI programs like ours that we know of in the country. Through continuing ed, free, you can attend as long as you want. There are people who have been with the program off and on, different schedules for decades. And they use it as a support, as a touch base, to fine tune their skills, to keep connected as they move into other, accomplish other goals and do other things in their life. There are obviously a lot of students that come through, do a year, and then move on. But even that, they often come back. So we're always there. And I think that's one of the unique things about the program. In the continuum of care, we are at that end of the continuum that is often not addressed in the rest of the country. So, some testimonials. Realizing there's a place I feel comfortable and accepted has been awesome. I'm happier, functional, working again. Being in a safe environment. We want you to feel safe and secure, able to talk about what you need to talk about, was a life-changing experience. I learned management, time management, listening, anger, self-awareness, memory study, and most importantly, some career counseling. That's one person's view. Increase my volunteer opportunities. This woman actually started her own art studio. Could have no other doctors, no friends, could have replaced the rigorous brain rewiring that the ABI program provided for me. It gave me a place to belong. And I think this is poignant. Hope to recover. And even family members say the same. Often feel like it is a family of education, ABI. We talk about ourselves often as the ABI family. And I'm applauding. 15 years, we've also been connected with the Brain Injury Foundation. And if you guys probably have seen us or heard of us or been part of us, the Team ABI, and doing it for 15 years now, I have raised like close to $300,000 for the foundation. We work closely with the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation in terms of referrals and activities and programs. So I'm thrilled to be here today and to continue that relationship. It's a complicated thing. We have asked our students over and over again, and the vast majority of students want to continue online. And the reason for that is gas has gotten so expensive. So transportation, if you drive, is very costly. The access bus and riding the bus system is also very costly on a daily basis. Plus, people were coming 2 to 3 hours sometimes one way to get to our program every day, Monday through Thursday. It's obviously a lot more convenient and easy to just go to your bedroom and turn on the computer, right? So that's one major factor, the cost and the time of the transportation. Oftentimes, if they had a doctor's appointment, they couldn't make it to campus, but if they can come from home, it's much easier. They can click in really quick, a little bit late. But if they have a 2-hour transportation time or 1-hour transportation time, it wasn't feasible. So our attendance has gone way up compared to pre-Zoom. So that we noticed that, oh, we can serve more people this way on Zoom. The other big issue is people have anxiety issues often about leaving the house or being with large groups of live breathing people. And so that is an issue for some people. So that allowed that whole subset of people to attend because it's on Zoom. Some people are concerned about autoimmune compromises and don't want to be in a room full of other people. Then came the issue of, well, what if we could install cameras and have some people attend on Zoom and some people come to campus, and then try to make the whole thing work? It's called high flex. So you're doing both at the same time. Lots of issues with that. Biggest one right now is there are no cameras installed yet. So it's kind of a moot point. But we have attended some of those kind of high flex seminars, and we quickly realized that doesn't work for our population. And for our teachers, we wouldn't have the technical support we need to run the cameras and troubleshoot. You know how technology goes, right? Nothing ever works. And then the camera wouldn't work, but we'd have all these live bodies in front of us. And what are we going to do with them while we're trying to get the camera to work? And what if we don't have any aides or assistants? And what if we don't know what we're doing? And so there was that issue. We are also very interactive. There is a lot of talking, a lot of interaction. It's not just a teacher going blah, 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 like I am now. What we found out is if you've got a screen and you've got live people, the people on the screen can't really hear the live people can't really hear on the screen. You're not getting the visual cues. You don't know where to look. Teacher doesn't know where to look. And so we're worried about that as well. And then the final point, the people who want to come back, who actually would come back, they would get on the bus or in the car and come back every day like they used to. They want to come back because they want to see all their friends, all the people that they know and love from the old days. But what if all your friends are the ones that are staying home? So they're on the screen, and you get to campus and there's 5 people in the room and 20 people on the screen. Then it's not what you were expecting. So you can see our dilemma. It's easier for us to either be completely in person or completely Zoom. But we're figuring on Zoom, we can serve more people. In fact, we have people, former students, who hear that we're on Zoom, but they live in Hawaii, or they live in Virginia or Ohio, and they can now attend unofficially because we're on Zoom. So we're able to serve them as well. And we have former students who live in Morro Bay and in Berkeley, and they can attend officially because that's still California. So that's pretty cool that we can serve them. I would give that a try, provide her with the counselor information. I will put that up again and see if they can do an intake interview. And yes, she should be able to attend one of our programs. We don't advertise to brand new students outside of San Diego per se, other than through people like you, like family members and things like that.
Okay.
Most of our people from outside of San Diego are former students. They know us from the old days. I like your idea. We're thinking about that. Is there a way we could get together like once a month or so, physically get together? For the ECC program, the morning program, the Wednesday night program, that would be the easiest because it's one class. Give us a classroom. Hey, everybody, the last Wednesday of the month or whatever, show up in this room. The problem with our other crazy afternoon program is, this crazy thing is where we got millions of classes running simultaneously. We would have to secure 4 rooms in a building that weren't being used at that point at that time. And yeah, and it would only be some of the classes. Like if we picked Monday, it could only be atomic habits, aphasia, OTM, return to work, memory, and social skills. Then the Tuesday people wouldn't have that opportunity unless we shifted it every month. Okay, now it's a Tuesday day, or now it's a Wednesday. It gets complicated, but I'm definitely going to be looking into that, how we could manage that. There is a behavioral component built into every class, and the teachers are well versed on that. If you mean behavioral, like learning to control your impulsivity, being appropriate in social situations, how loud should I be? Am I too soft? Am I standing too close? Those kinds of things. Also, like I said, managing your anger, managing your impulsivity, your disinhibition. Yes, we do address that in the context of a classroom. Obviously not one-on-one, but the teachers often make time to meet with students one-on-one outside of class time. And I need to say, this job for all of us, no matter which program you go to, is a part-time job, which also means part-time pay, right? And but I think those of you in the program know the teachers are pretty dedicated and passionate and try their best to answer every email, every phone call, set up meetings, go the extra mile, but just recognize it's a part-time gig for all of them. I wanted to give the students maybe that have been through one of the ABI programs or are in the ABI programs, what could you guys add or describe, or your experience?
It's amazing. It's really whatever you want to make of it. I wouldn't say that 2 semesters are alike. It's you know, if it's, one semester you want to work on like study skills, or one semester where you want to like Heike shared about the book club, where you want to explore getting back to reading, or if you want to just learn about stress management strategies. I mean, every semester is absolutely whatever you want to make of it. And the teachers and students are just this amazingly supportive community. I mean, I had no idea what to expect when I started, and I mean, every semester has just far exceeded like anything I would ever imagine. I mean, but we also have a wide range. I mean, some people might have, just very recently had their brain injury, or some people are decades in their recovery. Like I wouldn't say that it's any sort of cookie cutter experience. Like everybody's experience is unique, but it's really whatever you want to make of it. And then the next semester you can explore more, like maybe there's one set of classes you really liked and so you want to go that, or maybe try something new. Like it's really whatever you make of it. And I mean, I'm super biased. I moved to California specifically for the ABI program, but I mean, it's very discouraging when you're in an environment where they don't understand even the language of brain injury. And the moment I connected with ABI, it's like they have the words I didn't even know like what to use to describe this. Like I had never heard of overwhelm or aphasia, and those were things in my life, but it's amazing to not feel like a creature when you're just trying to get yourself better. And ABI has been so supportive, and yeah, it's absolutely changed my life. And so I've now been a part of that community since the summer of 2018.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
And each semester keeps getting better. Like everything, I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's great. Thank you, Lauren. You brought up an issue I didn't address. What are the demographics of the student population? Really, it's ages 18 to 80 or 80 plus. length of time post onset, we have students that had their injury a month ago, and we have students that had their injury 30 years ago. So that's, you get the experience, the life experience that you're exposed to is also tremendous. We have students that were in a coma for 5 months, sitting next to another student who had a mild concussion and never even went to the hospital. We have students that have severe aphasia, can barely get a word out, but they know exactly what we did in the previous period, great memory. Sitting next to somebody who is very articulate, can put together great sentences, but can't really remember what we did last period. Sitting next to somebody who has outbursts, who has to be, cued to be appropriate. So it's a wide range of students, but they're so supportive of each other. Well, that's part of what we're trying to accomplish, is that you all survivors are out there. You are now, if you choose to be, the educators and advocates for the brain injury communicator. You are the experts, really. And so when you're out there, to try to talk to your doctors, to try to educate them, to tell them about the foundation or the ABI program, we put out stuff all the time, and our programs are big, but there's still a lot of people that don't know about us or know about, and certainly the vast majority of people. Think about yourselves. How many of you had ever heard the word aphasia before you had a brain injury? How many of you maybe had a preconception of what brain injury meant, that now has changed now that you're in the trenches and have experienced it yourself? So you are the educators, I always say. You're the experts. All right. I did want to, let me just put this up one more time. So this is the contact information, if you didn't have a chance to write it down. Our counselor is Rosa. There's the email. Emails are pretty easy at the district. They always have SD San Diego CC Community College, D for district, San Diego Community College District .edu, educational. And then usually, not always, but usually the first initial are for Rosa and then her last name. And that's a great way to get a hold of her, rmanzon at sdccd.edu. She has, it's called a Google phone number nowadays, because many of these counselors had to work from home and weren't sitting in an office somewhere. So her number is 619-736-3124. And she can help you navigate through all the programs. Kim is fields a lot of the calls for the ECC program, which is the one for people with more significant aphasia that really want to mostly focus on that. And she's at K Salerno, sdccd.edu. I did the one other thing I didn't share or say to you per se is you can contact me as well if you have something specific, that you want to address or ask, or maybe you think of something a bit later. My email address again, Heiberg at, you probably know it by now, sdccd.edu. Okay. HEIB as in boy, ERG. Good. All right. I appreciate the time and the attention and the turnout, especially of the current students, because they hear me drone on and on all the time. So that's very nice of you to come and sort of support. I appreciate that too.
Well, thank you, Heike. We appreciate you. We appreciate our partnership with ABI, and thank you to everybody who came here today. Again, Heike, thank you for your time today. Always a wealth of information, and you know, we just appreciate what the ABI program does for our community, and appreciate you speaking about it a little bit today.